Welcome back to a new episode of Relocate to Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Luca Chaquet, and today's guest is someone incredibly special to me. Now, I know I always say that, but this time I really mean it, because today's guest is my role model, my sister, Yulia. Yulia has a background in psychology and over 14 years of experience in consumer research and marketing communications. But after becoming a mother, she made a huge life change. She left the corporate world to reconnect with what she truly believes is her calling, understanding the human mind and helping families build healthier relationships. Today, she specializes in child psychology and parenting counseling, focusing on the relationship between children and their parents. She's also continuing her studies to become a therapist for adults. She writes for one of Romania's leading psychology platforms, the Psychology Page, and she's deeply passionate about challenging the status quo around how we raise children. And honestly, that's exactly what I wanted her on this episode. Today we're talking about motherhood and the myths that quietly shape about how women feel about themselves every single day. Because somewhere along the way, we were sold this impossible idea that a good mother is endlessly patient, deeply fulfilled, naturally selfless, emotionally available 24/7, organized, grateful, calm, and somehow still successful, attractive, and happy. And if you're struggling, you think you're the problem. But what if the problem isn't you? What if the problem is the story? The truth is, motherhood can be beautiful and brutal, joyful and lonely, meaningful and overwhelming, sometimes all before 9 a.m. And yet, so many women feel ashamed to say that out loud. So in this episode, we're unpacking the myths about mothers, about children, about happiness, sacrifice, guilt, identity, what it really means to be a good mom. But because I think a lot of women aren't failing motherhood. I think they're drowning under expectations no human being was ever supposed to carry alone. So if you ever felt guilty, exhausted, resentful, lost, or like you love your children deeply but miss yourself too, this conversation is for you. Oh my God, Yulia, we made it. Oh, I can't believe it. Thank you so much for joining me. My role model is finally here to talk about motherhood and about all the things that, all the taboo things that we don't want to talk. And I'll just go I'll go straight to the first question. What do you think are like the biggest myths about motherhood? Those that make moms feel unhappy and unsatisfied and
Oh my God. So I'm so happy to be here. And for the record, I wanted to talk about heated rivalry, but you were like, oh, let's talk about boring topics like motherhood and children and parenting. Who wants to talk about that?
Okay, we're gonna have a separate episode about
Please.
about the series. Okay, I have to watch it first. I didn't.
The spicy version of motherhood. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. That one. So I will bore you a bit, but also this one, the spicy stuff. So, if there would be one thing, let's go. Let's try to talk about the myths about first about moms and then about kids, or you want to talk first about the how do you want to take it?
Well, since you first told me about the topic, I was thinking, what is, and at least what was for me, the biggest myth that I was served and that I believed in for a large period of time. And to me, that was exactly this one. Like the business model of parenting is a big myth. Like you would think that because we are in the 21st century and the society is so evolved and we have freaking an AI taking over, you would think that we have figured it all out. I mean, for sure, the society has a business model for parenting that is in the best interest of the parents and the child. And for me, it was so sadly and painfully untrue.
It was the opposite.
It was quite the opposite because I thought, when I decided to get pregnant, I thought of course, the world is in such a good place, and for sure, people have thought about it, and there are a lot of options that I can choose from. Um, Starting with bringing a child into the world and then raising the child, and then I realized that it is far away from the truth. And I will start with one of the first myths that I had to come to face with was about bringing a child into the world and giving birth, actually. And as I've said, for at-risk pregnancies like it was yours, it is so much better that the medicine is so evolved and you can deliver your baby safely, basically. But for typical pregnancies, which I believe are most of the cases, women give birth in an environment that has nothing to do with the natural way of doing it. They are doing it in an unfamiliar environment, alone, with people they've seen with unfamiliar faces, in a sterile environment with lots of lights, completely the opposite of what the body and the nervous system needs at the time. And I remember I gave birth in Netherlands with a male doctor that I have met 5 minutes before giving birth. So you can you can imagine how my body reacted to that situation.
I remember I had 8 people in the delivery room. It was an emergency C-section. And I remember everybody were, I mean, it was an emergency, obviously,
Yeah.
but everybody were saying hello. And I was like, who are all these people, you know? And my husband couldn't make it on time. And even so, for emergency situation, they don't allow like the dad to be in the room, in the emergency room, in the delivery room. And yeah, it was quite an experience.
Yeah, exactly. So that I was in the Netherlands. They allow the partner in the room, which was the biggest uh, benefit from my point of view, because otherwise I would have been devastated to be alone in the country with no, um, again, familiar faces around or relatives. So if you think about it, 100 years ago, women, for again a typical birth, they would have such a, I would say, peaceful experience giving birth, maybe at home with a doula or a grandma or a mother or a community of women in an environment that they knew and they could feel, comfortable in. So that was the biggest myth. And I've talked to a lot of women, of a lot of women. I don't think I've ever heard anybody saying, "Oh, I had such a beautiful birth." Everybody was saying, "That was one of the biggest trauma of my life," or "It was a horrible experience," and it shouldn't be this way.
It
So that
should,
was,
yeah.
yeah,
For me, I have like all kind of friends, and so the ones that they have like more than one birth, so they say like the first one was like emergency C-section, the second one was bad, but the third one was like the best. And so when they have like more pregnancy, finally, just like I wanted to
right,
have a perfect. It's like you practice and then like practice makes it perfect.
yeah.
So I think that they tried the first one a disaster, the second, and then like for the third, fourth kid,
I'm
it's like
going for
oh.
the third time. Third time is a charm to have my perfect pregnancy. Damn.
Yeah, 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 exactly, yeah.
My perfect, yeah.
So this is
Oh,
like usually the cases where what I've heard, but yeah, and I
yeah,
have friends that also gave birth during COVID. So they not only that the dads were not allowed in, but I think that they were also they didn't allow anybody to visit the patient. The mom was there. I have a friend that she gave birth and she was like a week in with C-section, so she was like 5 days at the hospital and nobody was allowed to come to visit her.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
easy.
When you get separated by your from your child, and all sorts of experiences that are so far away from the natural way of doing this. So that was about bringing a child into the world. Then I was thinking about raising a child. So I thought
Oh, that's
that was I think my biggest struggle with the world and the society was that biggest struggle. I struggled a lot. I always felt, somehow a misfit since I was young. But that was the big the big fight that I had to take on. Um, I was looking at the data because I judge I judge the way a country understands the development needs of a child by the extent of paid maternity leave.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So, from many points of view, I was unlucky to be born in Romania, just like you. But for this point of view, there was a ginormous advantage.
mm-hmm,
Romania has the highest um, paid maternity leave in the world. That is 104 weeks. That's like 2 years. Then
mm-hmm,
comes South Korea with 90 weeks, and then it drops to 50 weeks. But apart from this data, 80% of the countries, that's 80, provide a maternity leave from 10 to 20 weeks. That's like from 2 to 5 months.
mm-hmm. And you also gave birth in Holland,
I gave
which is
birth
also 3 months.
exactly, which was 3 months. That's very important to say. That's the maternity leave was 3 months. Uh, we all know because we are moms, and probably all your or most of your audience is comprised of mothers or parents. We all know what a child from 2 to 5 months look like. It's an innocent little creatures that can barely hold his or her head. We know
Exactly.
from the psychological point of view, from the neurological point of view, from the evolutionary point of view, that this is not okay to leave your child, to be away from your child at that time. So, what can you do? Actually, you give birth. That's the moral. You have the so if you look at how many countries offer um, part-time jobs for new moms, or a few hours in a working day, or a few working days per week, a few. How many companies offer on-site kindergartens for parents? A few. How many of us still have communities to help us raise our children? A few. That's
A
almost
few.
gone. Where are the grandparents in this scenario? I mean, either we relocate like you did and I did, and there are no grandparents in the scenario at
Yeah, I
all.
wanted to talk about this. Yeah, the expat communities, all their families is abroad, and you have to deal. You're raising your kids alone. You meet the grandparents every few months,
Exactly.
and how do they actually? They can build like a strong relationship when we meet like every
They
few
cannot.
months? And how can you get help? So you start to kind of like you're getting nannies and you're getting help and you're getting the people around you, but
Yeah.
it's a big issue.
Yeah.
You're right.
There are no grandparents, or you don't want to expose your child to the grandparents, because we as millennials know very well how we were raised by our parents. So maybe we don't want to expose our children to that type of behavior. Or there's another category of grandparents. These are the boomer generation who had so much hardship in their lives that they just don't want to get involved at all. So you have this
Mm-hmm.
category of grandparents who are lost on Facebook or on TikTok and just don't want to deal with any responsibilities at their
Yeah.
retirement age. So that's also gone.
Yeah.
So what's left? Then you take your child to a daycare. You try to,
Wait, I want to ask you for a
yeah,
second. So is Gen Z the savior, or like are we having like better data with the Gen Z?
I,
You doubt it.
yeah, I doubt it. Yeah.
I refuse to answer the question.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, again, coming back to the model. So you start following the model. You go to work 8 hours a day for 5 days a week, and then your child has to be raised by whom? Who is raising your child? I visited a lot of kindergartens, both in Romania and in the Netherlands, and I can tell you for a fact that there are so few well-trained professional in the caregiving industry that is absolutely scary. And I'm not talking only about, knowledge about children psychology, children development age, and stuff like that. I'm talking also about personality type, whether these people are
Yeah.
warm, whether these people love to be around children. There are very, very few. And I think this
Yeah.
is because that's the problem. The underlying problem is that we think as a society that raising children is so easy that anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Where in fact is one of the most demanding jobs there is compared to other sectors, especially compared to office type of jobs.
Yeah, I
That's another,
completely agree on that.
yeah. And let's say, okay, let's say that you have the chance to find an exceptional caregiver that looks after your child while you work. You are that person, no matter how exceptional it is, no matter how trained it is, that person still has to deal with 4 or 5 kids at a time.
Minimum, yeah.
Minimum, I'm talking about best case scenarios. It's impossible for that person to take care of each individual need of the child. And we know very well, as you also study psychology, we know very well that children and mammals are wired for attachment. So
Yeah.
who are these children going to attach with? Who are going to form an attachment with? And I think I told you about this book. It's amazing. It's called Hold On to Your Kids by Gordon Neufeld and Gabor Mate, uh, which states that for the first time in history, actually we have children forming attachments to other children. First time in
Oh,
history. So you have small undeveloped brains attaching to other small undeveloped brains, and they're looking for behavioral patterns and models, and they're looking for empathy, and they're looking for emotional regulation from other children because
yeah.
there's nobody
To be there, yeah.
to be
Also,
there.
which reminds me of the Montessori model, which they mixed. They put like I think like between the age of 3 or 6, they're mixing the kids together. They're
Yeah,
like the same
yeah, yeah,
ages,
yeah,
and then like from 6 plus to 12, also other kids together.
yeah,
So the young ones kind of like they learn how to probably to attach to the bigger ones. The
exactly.
older ones, they learn how to take care of the little ones.
Yeah.
So it's just like
Yeah, still
big
that's not
happy family.
okay because you have children taking care of other children.
Yeah,
Before the Second World War, and even for us, for our generation, we grew up with multi-generational attachment villages. You remember, we had our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and we live
yeah,
in a community. We would go out and meet neighbors in the street. That none of
yeah,
it's gone, absolutely gone,
yeah.
almost everywhere. I mean,
Jonathan
the,
Hay talks about it in the Anxious Generation,
yeah,
that the parents, the millennial today, they're like super stressed about the fact that like, okay, my kids, they don't go out alone, they cannot go, they're like all the time with the kids, they don't allow them to go out to meet in the neighborhoods. But then online, nobody cares about these kids and what's happening. Anyway, this is a different subject.
yeah,
But he
yeah.
talks about the young generation that they forget to be kids and they forget to. There are like a lot of jokes and memes on Instagram today that we were afraid to go home to drink water because maybe they would tell us to stay at home.
Stay
So,
home. They wouldn't
yes,
they wouldn't let us go out again.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember that.
Yeah,
That is
and we would
absolutely
just be
wrong.
out when the sun is, out and or call us for dinner or something, and we didn't have cell phones to talk to them, and yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
different times.
yeah. So no wonder we have so much aggression around in the children groups, and so much premature sexualization and lack of empathy. To who are going to learn empathy from? Who are going to show them that another
Yeah,
kid who has the
yeah.
same needs and another developed brain? I mean, um, so
I
that's
think
not,
also.
yeah.
No, I just wanted to say that there's another issue. Like at my kids' school, you cannot bring kids younger than 3 years old. I think there's also another problem that the kids cannot actually express their feelings or they cannot tell you exactly what happens at school.
Of course
And
not.
uh,
Not
and
verbally.
when exactly, yeah. So you could see like you have like a bad behavior from I had it with my little one, with one of my twins, and I didn't know that she was very stressed to go to kindergarten, and then I found out that actually she was just very stressed in the environment that she was, and she would like tantrum every morning. She didn't know how to express herself, and yeah. Anyway, so what other myths? We still have myths about motherhood, or
No, just going to finish with this one because I'm going to talk about my personal experience in the end, what I chose. So you have there's no part time actually. There's the 8 to 5 working schedule, and then there is my option. I Because again, I gave birth in the Netherlands, so the maternity leave is 3 months. So I decided to resign. I quit my job, and I become a full-term caregiver, full-time caregiver to my child. And I didn't do that because it was my dream. I did that because all the other options seemed horrible to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I distinctly remember when I told that in the offices in the Netherlands, a lot, and I mean a lot, over 10, I think, female workers came to me worried that I have a mental condition, that I have a mental breakdown because I'm choosing to leave such a good position to be with my child. So they couldn't even grasp the idea of another paradigm, another model. They couldn't even
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
understand how is that possible to do that. So once you have this choice, you become an outcast. That was my perception. My
Mm-hmm.
perception was that I was being perceived as an inferior member of the society because I wasn't producing. How can you produce something worthy for the society when you sit all day with your child? And
Mm-hmm.
I had so many people judging me and giving me comments and unsolicited advice, and they did it so easily. I mean, that was really upsetting to me. They did it with such ease that you have to have very low respect for somebody in order to do that. So
Mm-hmm.
was this category that always was judging, and another category was always telling me how lucky I am. How lucky I am because my husband um, decided to support me financially. And at first I was like, yeah, the good girl that I am, I was always, yeah, I was very lucky and trying to be humble. But then when the years went by, I became very irritated with this statement. I became very irritated because I knew it wasn't sheer luck. It was a choice. For me, it was a choice to have a child with this great man who was going to support me and protect me and his child. And shout out to all great dads out there who are trying to break the cycle, because I know if for us, if for women, we still had some high nurture examples maybe around us, maybe a grandmother, but for men in our generation, it was nobody.
Yeah.
They didn't have a role model at all. So yeah, um, that was my
It was a very brave decision to
there
take.
was you know it gave me a lot of strength. It brought back the strength and the courage in me. It wasn't the first battle that I actually won against the world. And
Wow.
again, I'm not saying by any means that women should quit their jobs and be full-time caregivers to their child. Not at all. And I'm not trying to cast blame or shame. There's a lot of blame for the moms, and especially guilt for the
Yeah.
moms that
Yeah.
are working, that are full working moms. I know that for a fact. What I want to say is that it is normal to have all this guilt. It is not normal to work unless you want to and you have other options. I just want to know that just I just want to make an analysis of the situation and raise my
Mm-hmm.
voice, because if we don't talk about it, nothing's going to change ever. I want to do my
It's
part.
true.
I want to talk about it. I want to show my example. I want to maybe talk to people that can change laws. That's a project of mine. I don't know if, but at least I did my part.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's blaming
Understand.
anybody. It's very hard. I look at these women. It's extremely. It's sometimes excruciating that how many hours a day do you have with your child if you work 8 hours a
Very
day?
few.
Very
Yeah. Yeah.
few.
Yeah.
and
It's
which
true.
are
But also there are many that they don't have another option, so they have to do
exactly,
that.
exactly. This is what I'm telling you. They are not to blame. The framework is not helping them. It's
Yeah.
impossible to do it in the framework.
Yes. It's true.
Yeah.
And you were saying that we're gonna talk about boring things.
Oh God. You don't know what I was going to talk about.
I'm still waiting for the show.
You
Thank you
have
for
to watch
sharing.
the
That's
show.
very
It brought back joy to my life. I'm telling you, 100%.
okay. I'll write it down.
Please write it down. And as a psychologist, I would recommend all women to watch Heated Rivalry because, I mean, apart from the love story, it shows us what we've always wanted to see: strong men and vulnerability. It's perfect.
It's perfect. Okay.
And
Okay.
you're not my
No,
sister
no,
anymore if you don't watch it.
no spoilers. No spoilers. I don't want to. I will. I have it on my list. I know. I will
Okay.
definitely watch it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
What's some myths? What?
more myths. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have more. So we shared three
Yeah,
myths.
it was kind of mixed. I want to talk about children a little bit, maybe
Okay.
in the
Okay.
time left, because there's
Yeah.
also like my another battle that I have with the world. Um, Again, the biggest myth about childhood and especially infancy, and we should be very careful because infancy is now considered from 0 to 3 years old. No, not from 0 to 3 months, but actually to 3 years, when the actual emotional brain is developing. And people think, oh, children are such valued members of society. They are well protected, respected, and taken care of. When in reality, what I see every day, everywhere I go, is that children are mostly treated as second class citizens. They have
Wow,
no
that's
rights.
a serious accusation.
Yeah, yeah. Old people as well, in some of the countries. They have no rights. They are treated with no respect and no empathy. Um, Sometimes I have these examples that always startle me and give me such, I don't know, bad moods and states of mind. I look at the very small children in the parks, everywhere I go at parties, and the very simple gesture of picking a child up. So the child is playing, minding his or her business, and then you have a parent coming and just grabbing the child like it's a toy
Yeah.
without the
With
yeah. So that's, for me, it says everything about how we treat children. And
yeah.
or the infamous giving the child from hand to hand, where you meet the relatives. What is that? That is not
Yeah.
a toy.
Yeah.
So again, people are saying, oh, the children have it so much better nowadays. They have everything. The world is at their feet. And because we're talking about myth, that's another amazing book called The Myth of Normal by Gabor Mate,
Mm-hmm.
who I think very succinctly and well summarizes the four needs of children,
Mm-hmm.
which are, first of all, is to express the emotional range of the whole emotional range, which is, I think it's we were doing better and better in this. Again, in my experience, when they're very small in infancy, we are doing a better job with the girls than with the boys. It's
Of
harder.
course, yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
harder for
Boys don't
boys.
cry and yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Still, nowadays we've let young girls express male type of emotions like, fury and aggression. On the one hand, because we understand that's the safe, the healthy part, that we understand that all the emotions have a role and are important. But on the other hand, it's because the male emotions like fury and expression of that are considered superior,
Mm-hmm.
and this
Mm-hmm.
is why we let little girls express them.
Mm-hmm.
As to what vulnerability, it's still, I can see parents like us, when their boy chooses a form of expression that is still considered feminine, they're like cringing.
Yeah. I always say that people never cease to amaze me in a negative way.
Of course.
Uh, I, whenever I say that I've seen everything, I've seen something worse. But I want to keep it on the positive. So I will ask you about something good that is happening today in the parenting. But go ahead with the needs. You didn't finish the
Oh
needs
yeah,
from
yeah.
the book.
So you have the expressing the whole range of needs. They need secure attachment to an adult.
Yeah.
What they need is psychological rest. That's a very important one. That means that they can be themselves, at least at home, at least around the parents. They don't have to
Yeah.
pretend, they don't have to stand still, they don't have to do nice like they do in school or in other environments.
Yeah.
Because in the background, children will always ask themselves, am I enough for you? Or do I need to hide parts of myself in order for you
Yeah.
to accept me, love me?
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, Gabor Mate says between authenticity and attachment, a child will always choose attachment and will always
It's true.
choose to be less authentic. And the fourth one is free play, which is, I mean, come on, we don't we don't even have to discuss it.
Yeah.
For
Would you say
children,
free play the same thing with the downtime or?
downtime, free play, so unstructured
Uh,
time for them. Unstructured activities for them, because they go from activity to activity to activity to be, even when they're at school in the after school program, there's always an adult telling them what to do.
yeah. Yeah. I
You can
agree.
play
And
over
here there's
there,
a
you can play with this.
yeah.
So
There is a strong trend here in Portugal. I know kids with over 5 after clubs after school, at least, so they just go from piano to football, from football to, I don't know, dancing, from swimming to this. And I'm like, oh, my kids only have like one after club. And anyway, they finish school at 4 p.m.
yeah,
So when do they have the time to rest? When do they have time to free play? When do they have time to just be kids, and do nothing?
kids and do nothing, exactly. The doing
Yeah,
nothing part is so important, because kids nowadays have lost their parents. We talked about it. Have lost their community, have lost their free play, have lost their direct contact with friends. Not to mention
yeah,
the whole what you mentioned, the anxious generation part, the whole digital screen, the screens and the digital information that is rewiring their brains. So
we definitely have to have another episode about that. I'm
uh,
officially inviting you for another episode on this theme. It's something that it's really I'm so
yeah,
passionate about.
it's um, it's not only, it's not only detrimental or damaging, it's rewiring the brain. They're first,
It's true.
it's not native, so the brain will function differently. So again, that's another topic to discuss. But
Yes.
yeah, that's another myth that children are better off nowadays. Another one is a big one, is that infancy is not important. That you look at the creature, a small creature here in front of you, and you think it's so little and it's so unaware of the environment. It's impossible that they will remember what happens. And
Oh,
actually,
really? This people are saying that.
of course, people are saying that. Of course, people. I don't have numbers, but I'm saying that that's a very common trend. He won't or she won't remember. And of course, we're not talking about explicit memory. We're talking about implicit memory. And we
Yeah.
now know that in the first 3 years, the attachment is formed, and the way your attachment is formed is follows you up in adulthood in every relationship. It's like the basis of the
So,
house. If the
yeah,
basis of
yeah,
the house is not solid, then
yeah,
you will have cracks, and probably the house will collapse at one point.
yeah.
It's the same. So and people are doing a lot of harmful things to their to their babies when they are small because they won't remember it. Like for instance, sleep training. I'm so, but
Another
again,
episode only on
on
this
sleep
theme with the
training,
sleep training.
on
Yeah,
sleep
yeah.
training, yeah.
I have some
You know the
experiences with experts. You know, everybody is an expert. You know that I gave board in Tel Aviv, and then they literally have an expert for everything. You know, from the sleep training to the breastfeeding. For like everybody is doing. It gives the country of experts, and everybody's giving you anyway advice. It's not
yeah,
only the experts. It's like you're not asking for an advice, and then everybody tells you which kind of stroller you should buy,
yeah,
which kind of like I don't know diapers and creams, and nobody asked them, you know, anything. But yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
everybody they know everything.
And you know, I don't. The last thing I want to do is sound like we want to criticize and we want to show off as better moms. That's the last thing I want to do. I want to encourage moms to really trust their instincts regarding, for instance, sleep training. I don't think any mom, if they're looking to their heart, would be okay with that. We
Yeah,
were, again, because the framework, because there was a guy in 1910, a pediatrician, told mom and took away kids from their mom's hands and told them you should sleep train your kids. We forgot that the kids are ours and we have instincts. Our brain is wired in a way that will help us go through that period of time. It is very difficult. But all the decisions as parents should have a big yes attached to that. And sleep training has not, it's
any logic.
impossible, any logic to do that. And again, if you think of mammals, if you think of a gorilla, I don't know, I chose gorilla maybe because of the side, but otherwise they're very peaceful giants. If you want to take a baby gorilla from, or a baby tiger from his mama's hands or paws,
You're
and
gonna get killed.
they'll rip you apart. This is what I want to, raise up in moms. That instinct. Again, there's a book by Greer Kirschenbaum called The Nurture Revolution. She's a neuroscientist, and she states very clearly that the brain, the dopamine system and the empathy system rewires so we can handle that level of distress that comes into our life when we have a child. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. Of course it is, especially where you don't have a village, where you don't
Exactly.
have the community. It is, absolutely it is. But if we know these things, if we trust our instincts, then at the end of the day, we can safely sleep and said, okay, we did the best decision for my family, for me and my child.
Yeah.
Because, yeah,
No, I just wanted to say, so would it be like the solution? Would it be like building that village for yourself, building that community around you? Would it like make things better?
that's very difficult with continuous relocation. It has, at least you have to be aware. First step is to be aware that if you decide to become a parent and you don't have a village around you, a village can be a family or can be friends, if it's possible, or you can at least join a group of newly parents or a community of parents. That can be your village. You have to have this, in store, because otherwise it will be extremely long. I can tell you from my own experience. I didn't have any of that. It's extremely lonely, and exhausting.
Yeah.
Absolutely is. So at least you have to be aware, and you have to, yeah, build it somehow. If the family is not there, maybe you don't even trust, build it somewhere. Have friends. I'm so jealous of my friends from high school who all decided to have kids at the same time. I was still going to rock concerts when they did that. Now I'm kind of regretting that. And they all have kids the same age now, and they go on vacations together, and I didn't have that.
But you had the traveling around the world and the building,
Of course.
like working. It's
Yeah,
everything. Everything in life. It has like
yeah,
the the prices and the profits and the good things and the bad things.
Of
So
course.
I'm sure that they, you know what, I'm sure. And I had the friend that also she gave birth super early. I think the kids are now teenagers. So she told me like the same thing. So, oh, I wish I didn't give birth so young. So you never know. Maybe they're looking up to you and they're like, oh, she traveled the world. She did, she
Sure.
lived a
Yeah.
very full life. So I think it's the full part, how do you say, the full part of the
Yeah.
glass.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned the communities, and I think about. So wait, are we finishing? We done with the myths, or you have something else that you would like to add?
No, I think that these are the biggest ones. Um, I, we also said we were going to talk about maybe good enough parenting, if that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, something that would.
What does it
I
mean?
think
That idea of
there are of course a lot of myths, but I think these are the biggest. I try to tackle the biggest ones, like the really society um, driven ones.
yeah.
Again, my advice is at least to be aware that this is how the society presents itself now. And if you want to be involved in raising your child, or you want to have a high nurturing environment for your child, it is pretty difficult to do it in the today's world.
Although I will have to contradict you a bit, just to say that there's like a whole trend on social media now about the vulnerable mom, and they're showing, there's not about perfection, it's about imperfection, and they do share a lot of things with like how difficult it is to raise the kids, and mom's crying on. So I think it's like a whole trend talking about that. What do you think about this one?
I think it should be there, the trend. It's healthy and normal to be, because that's the truth. That's
Yeah.
the reality. And if we have a village, we can make even fun of that. There's
Yeah.
another trend now that I'm watching on Instagram. I'm laughing so hard. It's
Is it
called
about heated rivalry a little?
It Revel. I watch all the time the edits. I can talk to you Russian accent anytime. Michael Hollander, you're so boring.
Okay. Okay, okay.
Hollander, you're
So
going to
wait,
have panic attack.
I will have a panic attack. What's the trend on Instagram?
So that's I'm a devoted mom, but sometimes I glitch. It's talk about when you have these moments where you're losing it, but it's fun. It's so it is, again, being a parent and doing it well, providing a nurturing environment. I keep repeating this word. It's very difficult. It's very difficult, especially if you're alone. But if you show this part of yourself, the vulnerable part, I'm sure people, again, if we have this mentality of really supporting each other, I'm sure there will be moms coming to you and say, okay, I'm going through the same.
Exactly. Yeah.
That should be the answer, not, oh, let me tell you how to do, and you should sleep train, and you should not
Yeah,
sleep
yeah,
train,
yeah.
and you should co-sleep, and you should breastfeed, and I am here for you. This is this is what is supposed to do. This is what a community or a village is supposed to do. I'm here for you. I'm listening. I know it's the same for me. I may not have the exact problem. I have others.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because everybody has their problems and their issues.
yeah. So
But I want to close it on a positive note, and we still have a few minutes left. But you mentioned good enough parenting,
yeah.
and I wanted to ask you, what does it really mean, and what I would like to touch a few points here on this one.
A good enough parenting. Well, first I dreaded that expression, because I thought there were people saying, "Oh, I'm a good enough parent," and I said, "Okay, that's a secret way of saying I don't want to get involved too much, or I'm not doing everything I can. I'm doing something that is good enough." Actually, this expression came from a psychologist, I forgot the name, who looked at what he considered to be children and parents in a secure attachment style. and they noticed them. Yeah, they noticed them, and he said that even with a secure attachment you have, only in 30% of the cases, um, people really understood each other, and parents really picked up the signals, the correct signals of the child, and they were in tune to each other. So this is how good enough came. And on one hand, it's a very good thing that good enough is there, because of course we have to drop this perfect mom parent example, which is
Syndrome. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
syndrome, which is not true. I mean, it's not even that moms have a huge list of things to do, but the framework doesn't even allow, the society framework doesn't even allow them to do two right. I mean, working and having children, not to mention looking like, I don't know, and investing in your knowledge and educating you. So no. So on one hand is true. On the other hand, is people saying, "Oh, I don't need to spend a lot of time on my kids." That's the other part of the spectrum, which I'm a little bit afraid of. I saw that in people. It's good enough. It's good enough. We spend 1 hour a day, but it's good enough. Is it? I'm wondering. So we have to be careful not to fall into this trap of good enough, not to go into the spectrum, at the end of the spectrum, and say it's good enough that I see my child
Every other day.
every other day. It's good enough. It's 30%, because if you look at 30%, 30% is not a big number. It's not.
Yeah, yeah.
If you work in a company and you would achieve your target 30%, that would have been there would be a problem.
You're out. Yeah.
You're out. You would be
You're fired.
Be fired. Exactly. So 30%, if you look at it, it's this is how good enough. But otherwise, living the perfect part of that's extremely healthy. Nothing is perfect. No relationship, irrespective of if it's with your child or your partner or your friend, there's no perfect.
Yeah. And good enough, maybe, it makes us like feel better about ourselves, knowing that you're doing your best, but you still, like it's still like good enough. But I want to take you to the next question, because you mentioned, so it's good enough parent, the good enough parenting, but then there are all these mothers that they are doing so much. They're doing so much right now, and, from learning all the experts' advice and investing a lot of time, and they're still feeling that they're failing. So what do you think, like, why do you think it happens today?
Again, because if a mother, at least on the working side, if a mother does not work, is not considered productive. If a mother works because again, you cannot work less than, only a few countries, as far as I know, have these part-time possibilities, the really well-developed countries. And if a mother works full-time, that she feels a tremendous amount of guilt. So
Yeah.
again, these are the only two things on the list: staying
We
informed,
don't have
staying in
another
shape,
option.
being the lovely, sexy wife, having fun with the friends. Where are you going to squeeze all that? It's
Exactly.
impossible.
So I have another redundant question. Can we have it all? Or can moms have it all?
Well, I think yes, in some few examples or categories, very few instances, they can. I mean, for instance, if a mom has a very strong community, a very loving partner, a job that allows her to work part-time, maybe let's say she's a writer, she writes books for children or something like I wanted to do a few years ago. If she has a baby, there's a lot of ifs, but
I'm starting
yeah,
to take
if she has
building the
if she
perfect
has
profile.
a strong group of friends, then just call her from time to time. Let's get. I'm staying with the child for 2 hours. You can go. Yes, that is possible to check all the boxes. I think so.
And is it realistic?
I haven't yet met that person. I had to let go of big parts of myself. Because I chose the child. I chose the little child in me. I know that sounds cheesy. That didn't get what she needed by far. And it was a sacrifice for sure. It felt like a big sacrifice. And would I do it again? Absolutely, I will do it again, but with more confidence.
And with more knowledge now.
Yeah, with
You
more
would have
knowledge
to,
now.
with more,
Yeah.
definitely.
I will
It's
not,
the,
I will not be humble, and I will not try to excuse myself or over explain myself or my
and to
situation.
please everybody. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or
Yeah.
saying how lucky I am. How am I lucky if I had to give up a part of myself? How is that lucky?
Yeah.
When you have to choose between two parts of yourself, that's not luck. So
That's life.
I think that's life. Yeah, that's not luck. That's life. That would be the tagline of the show.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I think
Uh,
we in the today's society, modern society at least, we cannot have it all. Uh, Maybe in some examples, some remote examples, it is possible.
mm-hmm.
But again, there's such childhood is such a short period of time. You blink and they're big.
Yeah,
I know.
it's
I
true.
think I told you. I don't know if I told you this statement. I saw it. The days are long, but the years are short. They really got to
Yes,
me.
it's true. It's true.
It's difficult, but it goes by so fast, and you can never go
No,
back.
yeah, it's
Only-
true. And everybody, one good thing that everybody says is like the time goes so fast, it grows so fast. Enjoy it now
Yeah,
when they're young.
yeah.
Julie, parting words for today. It just like I know it was fast, but it's just one of many more that we will have. Tell me some parting words about the today's theme, or something that you'd like the listeners to stay with.
So I would say again to mom and to parents to trust their instincts. Not to think for a second, that is another myth. Not to think for a second that playing with your child, especially small children, is a waste of time, is a lack of productivity. You are doing one of the most amazing things in the world, that is building a brain. Trust your instincts, play with your child. uh, Try to come up with a world of, or a choice of your own, because before going to these models or model of society, or at least be aware that this is how things are now. and
Perfect. Thank you so
and
much
always have
for.
a glitch, always have a little passion, even when I know the most difficult part is when you're a newly mom and you have very small children and you have zero time. Have
Yeah,
even
yeah.
5% small glitch, like a song you listen
Something for
to,
yourself.
like even if for 4 minutes, even 5 minutes, even for, remember, 90% devoted mom, 5% glitch. And
If
watch
it's only
into the
5%,
and
I'm
watch
I'm
into
in.
the rivalry. All new moms should watch into the rivalry.
We should. Oh my God! Thank you so much for your time, for your wisdom, for sharing that. And I'm serious. It's just one of many more to come
Okay,
episode.
I'm waiting.
Looking forward to hear more from you. So get ready. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Pupit.